Hi guys, thanks for tuning into my channel and for watching another episode of Conversations with Diana, where I interview real people who have real stories, who are pursuing their passions in order to make a difference in the world. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Don't forget to hit subscribe, like, share, and enable that notification button so you don't miss an episode. And for those of you who wish to be a sponsor for our upcoming episodes, feel free to email me at info@dianamyrie.com. That's info at dianamyrie.com. Nikki Clarke is a Jamaican-born founder, producer, and host of the multiple award-winning talk show, The Nikki Clarke Show, on Afro Global TV Bell 5 2472, Rogers 708, and on her website, NikkiClarkeNetwork.com. Nikki, who is an accomplished singer and songwriter, released a gospel single entitled For Your Love in the spring of 2021. She's launching her fourth book, 9 Virtues That COVID Taught Me, a playbook for never giving up, in the fall of 2021. Nikki is an ordained lay pastor with over 25 years of experience as a community activist. She's currently an MBA candidate at the Australian Institute of Business, and she's a proud mother of 3 adult children. Nikki, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Diana. It's an honor. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
You're most welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here on the show today. And first off, can you share with our viewers a bit about your background growing up in Jamaica and what it was like before moving to Canada?
Yes. Well, I was born in Kingston, Jamaica, and my mother is from St. Elizabeth, Carisbrook, St. Elizabeth, and my father is from Barton, St. Catharines. So I guess you would consider us country people.
Yes.
And I kind of spent the first 3 years in Carisbrook with my grandparents. My parents got this beautiful opportunity to move to Canada, what they believed to be the land of milk and honey. So they took that opportunity when I was about 18 months old, and they went through the immigration policy program and settled in Montreal, Quebec. And I was left with my grandmother for the next couple of years, which is the story of a lot of, Jamaicans. They have to kind of separate for a time when they're settling in another country, and that's what happened. So when I became 3, I moved to Montreal, Quebec. So my memories are kind of spotty, my early childhood experiences in Jamaica, but from what I see of pictures, I was on the beach, riding donkeys, just having a ball as a toddler with my grandmother, my grandfather, and my many uncles and aunts raising me in Jamaica. And we still have that connection. So growing up in Montreal, Quebec well, I really had a good childhood. However, the very early years when we arrived in like 1970, well, when I arrived in 1970 in Montreal, we were the only English speaking and we were the only Black family in a neighborhood of French neighbors. So
What was that like?
it was quite intense because there wasn't a lot of openness to diversity. I can remember Diana, walking down the street as a little girl, maybe 3.5, 4, around that age, 3 to 5 years old, and then having neighborhood kids try to spit on me and call me the N-word. And there was one particular situation where on Saturdays, my parents used to go grocery shopping. So they'd load me up in the back of the car and we'd go pick up what we needed and then come back. So as we were driving into our driveway and I was coming out of my dad's green Pinto, I remember the car, a little girl just came out of nowhere and started getting physical, started being very violent with me. It just started pounding. Diana, from this day, I don't remember actually feeling anything, because she was really trying to hit me hard. So picture this, I'm 4 years old and she, I think, must have been about 7 or 8 years old. don't know her from Adam, just coming out of nowhere. And she was just furious with me. And she had this rage in her. And she was pulling my hair. And then my father, once he caught wind of what was going on, he ran to her, and she ran in one direction, and my mom was just stunned, picked me up, and we went inside our triplex. So my mom's crying. My dad comes back into the home, and he's visibly upset, and I'm just kind of standing there looking at the both of them, very emotional, and I'm in shock. And all I could say to them was, Mommy, Daddy, why does that girl hate me so much? What did I do? I had no idea what was going on.
In your mind, you could not
I
understand
could not
why she
conceive
would.
that kind of rage, because I just had, very loving parents, loving friends and family, just doing what a 4-year-old does. Just my job was just to be adorable. So here I am meeting this rage and hatred from this girl, and I could not conceive in my mind what provoked this. So I asked them, why did she hate me? What did I do? And my father, now, crying. I've never seen my father cry. I think that was one, and one other time later in my life I saw him, because he's a very strong man. He says, Nikki, and he picked me up, put me on his lap, and he said, you're a very beautiful little girl. You're very special, but you are going to meet some people who are not going to feel the same way about you, the way Mommy and Daddy and a lot of people feel about you, because of the way maybe you look or how you speak, or something about you is just going to make them very upset with you. And it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. And you're a beautiful Black girl. And I want you to know that we're always going to be here for you. So just know that you're very special. That was something that I really needed to hear, because that was a make or break moment. And, I'm 53 years old. So you can imagine how that embedded into my memory, because I see it like I see you right now. It's very clear, that impression that was left. So from there on, my parents painstakingly made efforts to pour into me to develop my self-esteem, knowing that what I was up against, being the only girl who was Black in the neighborhood, in English, and in school, I was the only Black girl. My mom's a teacher, or she's a retired teacher, and my father was a businessman. So, they worked very hard, and, they were respected in their own right. But I had to really focus on making sure that I had respect in school. And the way that I could gain that respect was through academic excellence. So my father said, listen, there's a big focus on you because of what you look like and who you are. So you're going to have to be very strong, and you're going to have to be the best. You don't have a choice. No options. So I'm like, okay, no pressure. So that's what I did. I was just from a very early age ingrained to be like an achiever, and that's what I became throughout my early years in school. I worked very hard in high school, college, up to university with that kind of programming very early. And yeah, so that was, my kind of early experiences. So yeah.
You were told from early, listen, you don't have a choice. You either do well in school and show them up, or, so now that you fast forwarded, you're now 53, as you said, you look really well for your age.
Awesome. I thank God.
Yes. My question is, you go back to Montreal, how much has changed? Because with everything going on today with the Black Lives Matter movement and all the things that the pandemic and everything had, all the negativity around, it's still happening today, where people, it's sad to say, but what has been the progress in your opinion?
You know what? There has been some strides, but you do hear a lot of anti-Black racism still seeping through conversations. Systemic racism is still very evident in a lot of the reports that are made against people. I mean, there are some laws, not necessarily targeted at the Black community, but through people of faith who wear head garments. There's a law that says they can't wear head garments if they are in certain positions. So it's indicative of you know, kind of a view that may be narrow in terms of how they view the whole slice of diversity. So where anti-Black racism comes in, there's still a long way to go. There's the, like I said, the systemic racism. There's the racism that just kind of is overt or covert. You may go into a store or go into a place of business and be turned away based on the way you look, or perhaps your last name, if you're being considered for a position, if it sounds something that is not, what the HR representative is looking for in their mind, then they're not selected, that they're not even considered for an interview. So that happens.
Yeah.
And so there's a long way to go. But the good news is we do have many people because of Black Lives Matters, because of the tragedy of George Floyd, that has really heightened awareness, and they are they're more deliberate in how they tackle diversity and inclusion, and they're a lot more conscious about how they behave and how they interact with all kinds of people. So that's a really good step in the right direction.
I'm glad to know that things are, as you said, progressing. It's definitely moving the needle in the right direction. And
Yes,
just going to segue into congratulating you for, being a part of an award-winning show,
thank you.
right? And which has been going on for numerous years. When did you first realize what your purpose was and the steps that you took? What were some of the steps you took to make your dream a reality?
Yes, thank you. That's a great question. Um, well, my background is in education. After I completed university and college, I had the chops to teach in the area of early childhood education, and I was given an opportunity to teach at Sheridan College in Brampton, and there was also satellite in Oakville. So I took on courses there, and I taught there from 1999 to 2009. So the year 2008 was one where I was getting a very compelling divine whisper visit me on a regular basis. And the divine whisper was reminding me that my original plan wasn't going to be teaching in a classroom, that I had a bigger purpose and I needed to do it now. I could not take any more time in completing this task. And when I was going to university, I'll just backtrack, I was determined to take courses to prepare myself to become a world-class journalist. That's something that I wanted to do because I had, writing ability. I also was quite comfortable in front of speaking in front of people. So the public speaking skills were being developed. And I wanted to take all this and meet people across the world and speak to them and hear their stories and, be a champion of truth and advocate for people. And one particular afternoon after class, I turned on the TV. It was 1987, I'm dating myself, 1987. And I saw this incredible woman who was so graceful and well-spoken and just beautiful. And I said, okay, that's it. That's what I want to be. And that woman was Oprah Winfrey. And she was sharing these stories that I had never I had never encountered. I mean, there were some shows that kind of tackled really difficult issues, but it seemed through her delivery, she was able to really pull or extract stories from people, like from deep within, some places that they never shared, and releasing them in front of everyone, so that that person sharing the story would be healed, and then people who listen to the story would also be healed, and knowing that they were not alone, they were not in isolation in that experience. I said, wow, that's an incredible model. I think I want to do the same thing. So fast forward to now teaching in Brampton, and I have 3 children, and I'm taking care of a household and doing what adults do responsibly. This whisper visits me 2008, and it says, remember the original plan? It's time to visit that. So what I did was I contacted an online kind of TV carrier, and I said, listen, I have an idea for a show. Would you be interested in helping me with the production? And the channel owner says to me, well, if you have the dime, I have the time. So I said, okay. So that means that I have to be responsible for the production and the finance of this up and coming show. So that was what I did. And 2009, I very painfully said goodbye to my friends and my colleagues and my students at the college. And I said, it's time for me to make this leap of faith and start the show. And I'm pretty sure, they didn't say to me, but I'm pretty sure they must have felt that I was making kind of a bad decision, because I was leaving a well-paid, safe, secure position to start this job, which I had, or this show rather, without necessarily having all the tools at my hand, or having like a team of people around me, but I just knew that I had to do it. So 2008, 2009, I created what was the And the Beat Goes On show. So that was the precursor before the Nikki Clarke show. And it developed in that I was inviting people from all walks of life to come on the show and share their heart stories, and particularly artists. I would invite people to come and perform live, and they had to be really good, because I warned them that I had a good ear, and that we don't have like auto tune or all those little like reverb things to fix their voice. They had to show up and perform live really well. And one of my first interviews was a young man named Abel. And Abel is now the internationally known Weekend. So yes, he came on the show, 19, 20 years old, he's just about to get booted out of high school. And he said to me very humbly, and he was always really sweet and very polite with me. He said, Miss Nikki, do you think I got what it takes? Meanwhile, back at the ranch, right? He was in. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, yes, he's just like a musical genius. So, yeah, so he came on the show, and then as the show developed, a couple of years later, I found that this whim, this wish, this dream I had was actually carrying the destiny of others, like Abel and many others that came on the show. And they were getting picked up by other shows because they had a little bit of their feet wet, or their toes kind of dipping into the pool of the talk show arena through my show. So I had people blowing up with other dreams they had because of the platform that was provided with the show. And I was really proud to be part of that. I've had people who started their own talk shows by becoming encouraged and coached through this model. So in about 2012, someone said, you need to change the title of the show, because you need to stop hiding behind this title and reveal yourself. So I changed it from And the Beat Goes On to the Nikki Clarke Show. And as I started to put myself forward in terms of, the show's name, and I started to become a little bit more vulnerable too with my story, as I was asking people to really take off their masks and show their vulnerability. And I always believe that there's strength in vulnerability, so that we could learn from them, you know, and not just put up this protective piece, the mask that protects your integrity or protects yourself from getting hurt, or dealing with hurts that you haven't from the past. So as the show developed, I had people come on who shared their stories about rape survival, domestic abuse, alcoholism, you name it, cancer survival. And it was a little bit daunting in the beginning, because I didn't know how it was going to be received, if it was going to scare people off, because I was getting as real as I could. But what happened was it met a community need. And then more people came on because they found a safe, non-judgmental platform to share their story. So the name of the show changed, and also the tagline of the show became Transforming Lives One Story at a Time. And so Diana, the little divine whisper pushed me from 2008, 2009 to present day to have this platform for people. And it evolved from online to actually being picked up by Afro Global Television, which I highly esteem as an international carrier. And the show is on 4 cable channels. So it's distributed throughout Canada, as well as parts of Africa like Nigeria and Ethiopia. And then I also have the platform available on radio out of New York City weekly. So here is what happens when you decide to say yes. And for me, it was yes, Lord, because the divine whisper to me was, you know, the Holy Spirit saying, you got to do something and do it now. And I took that huge leap. And I'm so grateful for listening, because of just how many lives it has changed. And through that, a book came out called Transforming Lives One Story at a Time, that was published in 2017. And I invited 30 co-authors to take a chapter and to write about their very compelling story, and using that cathartic release of the story to help others. And it became a bestseller in 2018.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And the show has received, I would say, about 10 community awards for media production, and also for, I guess, ministering to people, so to speak, in helping them with their own changes, positive changes in their life, or making impactful changes in their life. So extremely grateful. So that's where I am right now, Diana. And now I am on your show, and so honored to be here. And I see that you have very much the similar spirit in helping people share their story. And as much as I've interviewed hundreds of people throughout the years, you know, I get a little bit nervous and shy talking about my story. But I'm thankful for you giving me that chance to do it.
And I am so thrilled that you took up the invitation to share your story, because, like you said, it's not always easy being on the receiving end, but I do believe your story needs to be shared. And what an amazing story it is. It's a testament to faith. It's a testament to believing in yourself, because if you didn't believe in yourself, who knows if you didn't take that step and that leap of faith, I should say, what would have happened. So I'm glad to know you took that step. And
yes, thanks.
Being a trailblazer for persons like myself who also emulated Oprah Winfrey, and to just share people's stories. And tell me more about the 4th book that you're launching. I know you're launching another book coming later this year, titled The 9 Virtues That COVID Taught Me. Can you share more about it and what we can expect?
Yes, thank you for that question. COVID has been, for me, a blessing, in that it has given me the chance to slow down, to be still, and to listen. And in the moments of solitude, I learned so much about myself. I realized that I was being kind of pulled in a lot of different directions, as you know, my heart was for empowering people, empowering communities, but I wasn't giving that same empowerment to myself. So I had to take these moments to recharge and to really pour into myself through self-care. And with all of that, I was able to understand what I needed, and also what those lessons from the moments of quiet I could teach others. So I came to understand the importance of connection, and also the underlying factors of quality connection. We can have so many people around us, but are those people the destiny helpers or the destiny destroyers? So that's one thing I had to pay attention to, the quality connection. So that's one of the things that I'm going to share in the book. And also about filling your cup and what that means to you. In order to have a full cup, you can't pour into anyone else. And other great lessons as I learned through these moments, and also how to encourage yourself. Sometimes you may not have cheerleaders around you. Sometimes you'll go through valleys, and the valleys won't keep you there unless you want to stay there. So you have to find a way to climb to the mountaintop. And very often you will be doing that alone in the physical sense. But with faith and determination, you can get yourself out. And I found ways to do that. And those are some of the words of encouragement that I share in the book. So I'm really hoping that it is well received. It's still, it's amazing to me how I went from one place to even being inspired to write the book. So that's why I'm sensitive to moments. I'm sensitive to what happens in the present, as I was so focused in the future, and sometimes I let the past kind of drag me down. So now I decide to stay in the present and just look around me and go, I'm thankful. I'm thankful. I'm not this, I'm not that. I have this, I have that. So when you're in a moment, when you stay in gratitude, it's amazing how your mind will shift, and you'll always be happy or stay in a place of peace and love, because you can see just blessings all around you. Does that make sense?
It
So
does. It does.
that's
And
where I'm at.
I do believe that that book is really needed, especially at this time. So I can't wait for when it's released, and I'll definitely be checking it out. And for those of you who are interested to know more about when the book is coming out, I will drop the contact details for Nikki in the description of the video below. Nikki, can
Thank
you
you.
tell us?
I'll sign a copy for you and send it to you and your family.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you
you.
so much. Can you tell us, the viewers, a bit about some of the challenges or a major challenge, whether it be personal or business related, that you experience that you think could be a inspiration for others watching to help them cope with whatever they may be going through now?
Absolutely. I always believe that if you can see it, you can achieve it. And I had this vision burning in me for a very long time. And then the vision led me to its manifestation. So even if you're feeling like this is not the right moment, or I don't have the means, I don't have the support, I don't have the resources, there's nobody there supporting me, develop a sense of your own value, have your own intrinsic value that will support yourself. And that means you'll have to find ways to encourage yourself, stay focused, and carry through what needs to be done. So the implementation. So how I do that is through prayer to stay motivated, and then I take the ideas and I write them down. I think I have several notebooks, probably about maybe 6 to 10 notebooks. And not that my phone can't do the job. My phone is pretty smart, or my laptop. I write things down as I'm being led. I'm getting the download. You know what I mean? And then
Thank God I'm not the only one who does that.
yes, no, it's a great thing. And then it's a matter of studying what that will look like. So coming up with the stages of the process to implementation. I think what happens to a lot of people is that they have beautiful ideas and then they bury those ideas. And there's a lot of almost, but never completion. So it's really important to follow through with that vision, because you don't know how far it's going to go. You don't know how it's going to bless you, and as well as the community out there. With my own example, I had no idea it would have its own legs and carry my ideas, but so many other people's ideas to their destiny. So that's really important. So to answer your question, Diana, I think it's really a matter of self-awareness, keeping yourself motivated, and then having a discipline to carry out the ideas.
Awesome. Thanks for those tips and strategies to enable any of us watching to go forward and pursue our passions, pursue our purpose.
Absolutely. And I you did ask me the question about challenges. Yes, I came across many challenges in the show, and my personal life. I'm not exempt to any of that. I try to show up with a smile and with a positive attitude, but there's a lot still going on that you just do your best, right? You don't beat yourself up for trying, and you do your best at what you can do. And even in the show, I made mistakes in terms of how I wanted the show to be carried out, marketing errors, or there were people that came in through the show that I trusted and didn't have the same vision and not necessarily the same agenda. And so all these things were pieces that I had to learn through trial and error, because I didn't have necessarily all the tools in the beginning. I just knew I had to start it. So these are the mistakes you make, but as you navigate through, it becomes wisdom later, once the experience is under your belt. And in terms of personal, I mean, I think every day I'm working on the best version of me and deal with stuff that has happened to me. I mean, I've had you name it, betrayal. My marriage ended early. I raised 3 children on my own, almost single-handedly, through all this illness, family member being sick, and even in the last few months, I'm just grateful to still have the show, because the show had to shut its studio doors for months until we had to find a way to pivot. I think pivot is like the catchword for 2021, so that we could find another way to get the stories out. And thank God for the Zoom platform and Instagram and that to continue with the show. So that's where I'm at.
Thank you for sharing
your insights and your story, because I think many people believe when they see a finished product, they think everything was hunky dory, so to speak, and they don't know the trials and the tribulations and the challenges. There are times I'm sure you didn't feel like maybe getting up to do the show, or even in your own experiences going to work and all of that, dealing with three children on your own could not have been easy. And you actually did it, and so many people out there are struggling because they may not necessarily have it all together, so to speak.
Yeah.
But they need to recognize that it is, if you really have a burning desire to get something done or to fulfill your purpose, no matter what, that's just something that just guides you. And obviously prayer makes a difference as well. So I do believe if more people are vulnerable and share their stories with others, people wouldn't get so easily discouraged, because a lot of people out there are really fighting the negative things going on in their heads and negative thoughts. And I think hearing your story and what you've shared will help someone to know that they're not alone and they can do it. They can achieve it.
Thank you. And I really encourage people, now that they have some time, to go on the network. The Nikki Clarke network is available online 24/7, and to hear the hundreds of stories of people who've defeated so many things. They conquered their Goliaths, so to speak, and how they've achieved no matter what. They've gone from the valleys to the mountaintop. And I sometimes you do these things and then you go, so that's why I was pushed to do that. So what a better time now to hear these stories of inspiration through my show, and as well as yours, Diana. People really need to be encouraged, and grateful that we took our leaps of faith and are doing what we're doing now. Can I also talk about how I became a pastor?
I was going to say if there's anything else you wanted to share.
Sure. Now, a lot of people ask me, like, where did that come from? That was like out of left field, but not really. If you know me, that I grew up in a Christian home, and my father is a retired Anglican minister. So that was always something established in the home. But you can have the tools to any kind of faith. You can be brought to church, or you can be brought to your temple or synagogue, but to have a connection with God is personal, and no one can really do that for you. That's something that you do for yourself. So I had that connection at a very young age, and I think that probably happened when I was going through all those trials and tribulations in my early years, through the very kind of confrontational racism that I dealt with. So that was my saving grace to this day. And with that, I loved going to Sunday school. I developed a real interest in choir singing. So I started my vocal training from a very young age. And that led me to songwriting. And I'll talk about some of the aspirations I have with that after this part. But I always felt that I had a call from God to serve in ministry. And you get older, you become an adult, and you kind of think, okay, I got this, God. I think I just want to do things on my own. And then you make all these mistakes. And I thought I was going to be able to move through life on my own strength. And I had to surrender to complete depending on God at a point in my life. And then I made a decision to answer the call, because I was letting the call go to voicemail for so many years, so to speak. And I enrolled in a Bible college in Toronto. And one amazing evening, my professor walks in with a stack of flyers, and he puts them on the podium, and he looks at the class and he says, okay, he lifts one leaflet up and he says, okay, this is going to change your life. And I want to ask you, are you ready to answer the call? And everybody's eyes were doe-eyed, and he said, okay. This is an opportunity for you to become ordained as ministers of the gospel. So you can become an ordained minister, you can become a lay pastor, pastor. So he gave us the different kind of variations of serving in ministry. And he says, okay, who wants the flyer? So I would say about 70% of my classmates shot up their hands, mine included. And then he says, okay, before you take the flyer, I want to say something to you. He says, now I've served 60 years in ministry and I've been persecuted. I've been lied on. I've had all kinds of attacks. And who wants the flyer now? So the hands went down. A few of them were still up, including mine. And he gave us the flyers. And within 6 to 7 months of training, I was ordained as a lay pastor in 2017. And as he prophesied, so it came to manifestation. There was the betrayal, there were the, outrageous stuff that happened, but it did not deter me in my faith. And I just kept going, knowing that, no weapons formed against me shall prosper, and standing on the promises of God, that he would continue to prosper me and protect me through this walk. So here I am now, still with the show and releasing a song, I think, that was burning in me. I just released a gospel single, a dancing.
Congratulations.
Thank you. On Mother's Day, called For Your Love. And I'll send you the single so you can listen to it with your family. But it's really a song dedicating my love and my appreciation for God, what he's done for me. And especially during these times of uncertainty, I hope the song can really uplift people through listening to it, and also dance to it. I love praise and worship, so I love the dance part of praising, and that's it. So the song is available right now on all musical platforms: iTunes, Spotify, Tidal, Napster. So go ahead, support an artist, and hope you enjoy the song.
And I will share the links again, as mentioned previously, in the description below, so you can check out the music along with everything you want to know about the show. Nikki, is there any other things you would want persons to know before we leave? I can't believe the time has passed so quickly. That's how it is when you're having a great conversation.
Yes, I've enjoyed this chat with you, and I really have to say, yeah, you have such a wonderful spirit, and I wish you all the very best in the growth of the show and all that is going to come from it. Many blessings to you. But I just want people to just know that there is something greater than where they are right now, and that they just have to stay in the place of gratitude and love, and know that everything is going to work out in the end. So stay positive, stay strong, and stay healthy. But they're going to come out even stronger than before. When a diamond is being created, what do they have to go through, Diana? They have to go through extreme pressure at times as a coal. But when they come out, they are so beautifully refined. So we are being refined. And at the end of this, we're just even more beautiful gems. So just hold on. You're almost there.
What a great way to leave the conversation on. Hold on. Thank you so much, Nikki. It was an extreme pleasure. And really for all of us who were able to hear your story, thank you for sharing with us today.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
And for those of you who are watching today, just want to thank you for tuning in to another episode of Conversations with Diana.
Thank you so much and come to joining the show. Welcome. Thank you so much, Marcel. It was indeed a pleasure.